I really want to take this opportunity to congratulate Honorable Agnes Pareyio, who has been elected as the first woman MP in Narok North, and I think in the entire county. Although you are aware also we have the women rep, Honorable Tonge, also from Narok North. Therefore, I want to take this opportunity to congratulate Agnes Pareyio for this well-deserved seat as member of National Assembly for Narok North.
Kwa majina ninaitwa Agnes Mantaine Pareyio. Nimesaliwa kijiji cha Naibora Jijik na nikaenda primary school ya Sagutik Primary School, and then kidogo nikaenda kuja Ole Sangale Primary School kwa sababu siku hizo boarding ilikuwa ni moja na ilikuwa Ole Sangale. Na from Ole Sangale I went to Kilgori Secondary School, nikakaa for 2 years, and then I transferred to Narok High, na hapo nikamalizia na kumalizia kama kawaida. Watoto wa Masai nimelelewa kwa kijiji ya na boma ya Kimasai na mila zote, lakini nashukuru baba yangu kwa sababu aliweza kuwa na haja na masomo. Kwa hivyo mimi nikawa mmoja, I was among the few wale walipata an opportunity to go to school, and that's how I managed to go to school. So I always remember to thank my late dad kwa kuona umuhimu ya kupeleka mimi shule, which I appreciate, and I'll always be grateful for him. And then I started leading an ordinary Masai life, and because I had an opportunity to go to school in the village that I was, because I taught in a primary school, and then after teaching for a few years tukaona ilikuwa ngumu, because by then teachers were not paid enough money, and my husband happened to have been a teacher too, and of course ni ile mila yetu ya kawaida. So mimi nikatoka kushughulika na maisha ya nyumbani na nikashughulika na kulea watoto. Nashukuru Mungu niko na familia. I'm married, I have a husband, he's still there. I have 4 kids, 3 sons and 1 daughter. And then when I was doing my ordinary work, because I had an opportunity to have gone to school, I got interested with our sisters and our cousins because they didn't get an opportunity to go to school. So I was always advocating for girl child education because I knew it was important, and I knew the importance of going to school because I could see other women working, and I could also I saw my life changing because I could keep my records, I could take care of my family. So I thought it was important for these girls to go to school. So as I was just an ordinary woman, we could form our groups, and then in those days we used to have an organization that was very important for us as women because it could bring women together. That was Maendeleo ya Wanawake. This organization had representation from the grassroots level. So from the grassroots, you could reach to the highest office in Nairobi because there was that link. That is how we happened to link up with Maendeleo ya Wanawake headquarters in Nairobi, where all women programs were set, and we had women in that office who were in charge of women programs. So I started an organization, and this organization was just about women issues, and I could keep records for other women. So, and because of this organization that was Maendeleo ya Wanawake, I was able to be elected in one of the offices, that is at the district level. By then it was not counties, it was district. So in Narok district, but I do remember that between the 80s, that is now 80s, I'm talking of 80s. Yeah, in my 80s, I was the treasurer in Maendeleo ya Wanawake, and that's how I happened to have met the women from headquarters Nairobi who were also interested in making sure that they run women programs in the villages and at the county level. Then at the county level, we got interested to know why our girls were dropping from school. Because you go to a school, you'll find that in class 1 to class 4, there is a good number of girls. And then from class 5, they get fewer year by year. So by the end of it all, when they are coming to sit for their KCPE, because it used to be KCPE, you'll find that none of the girls are there. They are all married off. And we got in 1989, we got interested to know what was the problem. So we started looking at this issue. Though we didn't know why we had to do that, I just got interested on my own. So in 1990, I started becoming active in trying to educate my people, bringing my people together, trying to be there as their leader, because by then I was a treasurer. And then when we did the other elections, that was in 1993 somewhere, I retained the same position. And that is when we used to have a very active woman. I remember her name was Leah. Leah was very active. She was at the headquarters as a Secretary General of Mantaine Wanawake. She was involved in so many activities that were bringing women together and trying to lift their life and trying to educate them on some of the important issues like health, like family planning, like by then we didn't know FGM. We were dealing with girl child education. So in 1997, I do remember, 1997-96, we did a small survey in Narok, because I was still following up on why girls drop from school. So in the outcome of the survey showed that girls drop from school to be married off, or they drop because they feel they don't want to go on with the education. And that was after female genital mutilation. So we started now looking at each other. What do we do? What is this female genital mutilation? Because by then we used to call it circumcision. It is after several years that they started calling it female genital mutilation, because they thought maybe the type that we practice in Narok was more than just cutting, because we used to call it circumcision, and then we came up with a new term, that is female genital mutilation. So whichever way you want to call it, circumcision, or it means the same. So after now learning that the reason why these girls drop from school is because these girls are cut, with an understanding or with a belief that after every girl is cut, you are now a grown-up. Doesn't matter how old you are, doesn't matter your age, but they believe that you are now ready for marriage. They can pronounce you a woman after you are cut. Then of course after you are cut, then the right place for you, they believe, was marrying. So we started now addressing girl child education. And then after going to that topic in my community, I come from a Maasai community that is still conservative, still believe that some of the cultures are the ones that make us who we are. So nobody could talk about it. It was a taboo. None else could speak about FGM. So I found myself to be alone, but I was determined to do that. One thing, because when I was in primary school, I had a friend by the name Josephine, who comes from Ukambani. And Josephine was a Christian, and her family had a Christian background. So Josephine didn't know anything to do with FGM. So every time these girls go home, when they come back, they come when their heads are shaved. That is to say, they have now moved from that stage of being a child to a womanhood, but yet they are still young. So every time we talked with with Josephine, I could always promise her, me, I'll not be cut. I'll not be cut. So when I went home, all was ready for me, and I was supposed to be cut. It was not me to decide. But when I tried to say no, to resist, they all started calling me a coward, which I hated. So because of the pressure of being called a coward, I agreed to be cut. So I grew up as a woman hating it. I didn't see the reason why I had to go through it. So when we did this research, the outcome was that After the cut, these girls are married off. So we started now saying, how are we going to approach this topic? Because it is a topic that people believe in it, and people think they are how they are because of it. Because that is like you are now changing the whole culture, a culture that people believe in. So we agreed to use cultural education as an entry point. So to bring that program to Narok, the then MP, who was Honorable Dimama, thought I was crazy. Then no politician would want to associate himself with me because I was like a mad. So I was alone, and I felt I needed to do it. So I could do the school visits. I could go to the women meetings, and then pole I could talk about education, the importance of education, then just not go directly to FGM. After 2 years, women started telling me, why can't you not address FGM? And this is what is making these girls marry off, because they also think they are grown-ups. So the attitude of these girls toward education changed after the cut. So they were also feeling now they are out of place, they need to be married. They were feeling like, oh, education is not important, I need to be in my home. So come year 2005, I started telling myself, why can't I not go to politics? Because all these politicians don't want to associate themselves with me, just simply because I'm against the culture. That's what they thought. But by then, it was a district, and the representatives were known as councillors. So I started. So everybody was like, what is wrong with this woman? After changing our culture, after saying no to FGM, now she's coming again, saying she wants to be a councillor. Then when I went to politics, I lost the first time because of that pressure. I went back to it, come next election, but they elected me. Simply because they were always seeing me near them. And what I was doing was not anything that they thought was harmful to them. But the leadership was opposed to what I was doing. So sometimes we need to be very careful, because our communities can be positive, but when the leadership think that this is what should happen to these people, despite the fact that most of the leaders don't cut their daughters, but they advocate for the cut to continue amongst the communities. So when I was elected, everybody was wondering. So I'm seeing like history, 10 years I was a councillor in Milili Ward. And that's why I'm now a member of parliament, because of what I did to those people, the record I kept there, the work I did there was still in their minds. And they never got somebody else who did better than what I did. So when I came there, I didn't leave my work. I continued, and that's why this center is here today, because this is a center that girls run to when they are at risk of FGM. And I could still reconcile these girls with their parents. What do I want to say? I want to say some of these things are just beliefs, but they are not practical. Because people think that when you help your people to educate them, the community will be against you. But no. So long as you explain yourself, you talk to them, you tell them why you think they should change, and they are also ready to change. So I became the first woman elected councillor. Then I stayed for 10 years. The councillors elected me to be their vice chair for 7 years. So I understand Narok very well. And now me being their MP, there's nothing new to me. And they had also accepted me. Only that, they still feel that, oh, a woman. It was not easy. Even though I'm seated here as their MP, it was not easy. First, when they introduced the women rep position, I thought I will resign, or because I deliberately didn't go back to the councillor because I wanted to go to be a woman rep. But because of my principles and what I stood for when I was a councillor, it affected me during that period of being elected as a woman rep, which I didn't feel because I refused to sign some documents which affected me. But I didn't care about it, so I left it at that. Then come the other general election that I said I'll not try the women rep again. Because when I tried the women rep, that's when I go and meet those enemies that I knew why they were against me. So again, I went for the MP, which we did at the primaries. I was in Jubilee, and then I won the election, but I was denied that right of being pronounced the winner.
That was in 2017.
Yes, and it was given to my opponent, and they took it away when I was there. They called me to pronounce me the winner, but the structures said no, we need this one. So I decided to rest. So they called me again. I was given a position of a chair and the FGM board, a position that I held for 3 years before I resigned to join politics, and which I think I performed because I was given 3 awards, one from the president, the other one from the donors, the other one from the FGM themselves. So I left there after 3 years, and I'm proud to say that the legacy I left there was perfect because we were able to make the Samburus change. They agreed to accept girls who have not been cut as part of their families, and they respected them. So we had the president presiding over the, the ceremony, which was also a milestone for us, going to Samburu, the president and everybody, and these elders came out, blessed all the women, and they promised not to refuse their sons to marry girls that have not been cut. So I am proud to say I left a legacy. One of the challenges is they believe men have, where they think it is only them that can be leaders. So the fact that I was a woman was a factor that would make men think, oh, it's easy. After all, she's just a woman, so she cannot beat us. So being a woman in some communities is an issue. You cannot say you can just sit and have something rightfully, or people have positive thinking about you. Some men have negative attitudes towards women. And until they see your leadership, they don't believe in you. Because they have that pride in them. They think this is ours. So they were using all the languages they want. Holding a rungu was an issue in my politics. Because people, some of my opponents were saying, you are electing a woman, how will she hold a rungu? So I also would tell them that, what do I need a rungu for? You cannot go to parliament with a rungu. Of course, we have standing orders in parliament that guide us when we are in parliament. So I don't need a rungu. But to make all elders trust that a woman can as well be a leader was an issue. But I did my politics so well. I talked to women. I made sure that I get these women separately. I talked to the youth. And I did my groundwork well. Yeah. So even when, because they turned against me the last 2 weeks, I saw men coming together, including the leaders that we had. Some of them forgot to do their politics. They were now fighting me. And then later, that's when they came to learn that all is not well with theirs. But I thank God that I made it. I'm a woman proudly, happy with my principles and what I want to do, because when I was a councillor, I made another lady who was also whom we bordered with, to be elected because of the work that these men saw. Because when I was elected, I was able to drill water, I was able to do a market for them, I was able to do several projects. So Lorna Ngogwa was also elected in Ildamat because of the work that I do. So I believe that come next election, if all goes well and we have CDF back, I will make sure that I'll make another woman in this narrow county get that position of an MP. And this will be because of my performance, because I'm a performer. I believe so. What it is going to be, because we are in a pathetic situation, because we have no water in Narok, and people didn't know that we need water in Narok. We need electricity, we need roads. We are better off in schools, because some of the schools have been done, but there is a lot that we need to do in Narok North. We have the roads, the feeder roads. We have the electricity. We still don't have electricity. Our markets need to be looked at, because this is where women go to, and we need to make sure that the place they go there, do their small businesses, are places that are neat, there is water, the toilets are available, to make them have a place that can have dignity. So there is a lot that we need to do. But I was thinking of starting to make sure that, because of the change of the curriculum, we need to make sure that we have classes enough. So as these pupils cross from class 6, go to their medium high school, they have classes. Yeah, they are part and parcel of me. They made me whom I am, and I just can't neglect these girls. Because at the moment we have 3 girls who are here, because all the rest are in school, because I also take them to school. At the moment I'm paying school fees for 119 girls in high school. I have 200 girls in a school that I run at Eselengei. They don't pay school fees. I struggle to make sure that they feed. And this is where they call their home over the holidays, because some of the parents have not reconciled with their daughters. So these girls cannot go home. The 3 girls you see around here, their cases are still in court, because the government refer their girls to this center. So it's up to me to feed these girls, make sure that after the cases are over, I take them to school, because I believe that education is power. And it's only after they have gone to school they can sustain their beliefs and the wishes of their own hearts, because the law is also there to protect them. But when you are ignorant, you cannot even know how to use the law. So I take them to school so that they can also be powerful. They can have that power to say no to what they think is not right for them. I'm inviting them to come and join me. I know that they also had their manifestos, and their manifestos might be different from me. I also need their guidance. I also need to talk to them. I also need their help. I need them to come in, and I will approach them after I've taken the oath, and now in office. I will call them to come and help me lead these people, because I also believe that all they wanted was to come and lead, to come and develop Narok North. So I will invite them, and trusting that a woman can as well deliver. And I also want to ask them not to worry, because a woman is an MP, because what they will see is development. And I think all what they need is to develop. And I'll make sure that no single cent that is going to the wrong places. All their money, if we happen to bring back CDF, because there are issues with CDF, which we look forward to making sure that it comes back to these people, because that is the only money that we think comes directly and goes directly and is managed by the people themselves, so that it can help them change their lives and also give hope in their daily work that they do. So I just want to call upon them to have trust that all is well. Yeah. And a woman can as well deliver. Yeah, and there are other women in parliament. I'm not the first woman to go to parliament, but I'm the first Maasai woman in Narok County to go to parliament. But we already have women from Samburu who are there for the third time. We also had women in Kajiado. We also had women from Laikipia. Sarah Lekwelele is there. So they should not worry, because I know some of these elders are worried. They don't know how the approach they are going to give me. They don't know what they call me. But let them be assured that I'm their MP and I'm ready to deliver.
Olakira TV Ewangan Olusholema.